Isn't it hilarious we're still talking about Albert Pujols in 2021? Like it's crazy given everything that's happened. And look, the whole Albert Pujols situation for me, it's been like this has been like a long time coming. Like I think his contract was due to run out, I believe, this year or the next year or something. Anyway,
This year.
so yeah, so this wasn't like this wasn't like a move that I think was a huge surprise, and it doesn't really affect the way the Angels are going to do business moving forward. Albert Pujols has like earned all of his money at this point, for better or worse, given that 10-year, $240 million contract he was given 10 years ago. And when you look at what happened in the years following that contract being signed, it just happened to coincide with, essentially like him falling off a cliff. And like, if be honest about this is a real cliff that Max Kellerman probably should have been talking about for all these years and not the Tom Brady one. But like, look at the facts. Albert Pujols, in his, I believe, 11 years with the Cardinals, he was averaging somewhere around 40 home runs a year. He comes to the Angels for the past 10 years in almost the same amount of time. Now he's averaging about 20. And again, it's not like he's a terrible player. He's just not what you paid for. And the Angels have made the playoffs once. They got swept in that playoff series. I believe it was against the Kansas City Royals. It might have been, I think it was the year they won. I don't know, maybe. But they got swept the one time they did, and that was with Mike Trout. And he hasn't really proven that.
I don't think they've ever been in the playoffs. I don't think Mike Trout has played a single playoff game in his
I
career.
think he I think he has. I think he has. But again, I mean, look, hey,
I don't
I
think
could
so.
be wrong, right? I could be wrong. But you have that. You have this big contract they paid him. You have the fact that they have not had any playoff success at all, regardless, right? They have had no playoff success. You have the fact that they just underwhelming. And Albert Pujols as an Angel, the biggest adjective you can say is just underwhelming, underperforming for what he got paid for. And he have some good years, yeah, but injuries, the lack of productivity, the fact that he was being paid all this money to sometimes not even like play. They he was a healthy scratch sometimes. Like, these are problems that happen with older players, man. And I think it was a lack of foresight on the Angels' part to see, like, man, this, like, it's like it's like a 3 point fallacy. You just think the same thing is gonna keep on happening and happening and happening, so you gamble on it, and at some point your luck's gonna run out. And I think that's what happened with Albert Pujols. Hope he does well with the Dodgers. Yeah, like you said, they have a lot of injuries. I think he can. He's still got a little left in the tank. This year has not been his best year, but I mean, look, he's still worthy of a baseball like contract. He's still worthy of, I think, being a major leaguer. Um, but he's not the Albert Pujols of old, and we should never expect that. Like we shouldn't have expected that, like, from 2015 on. Like, at least 2015 on, we should not have expected any semblance of the Albert Pujols of old, because I think 2015 was the last year he had 40 home runs, and that was like basically his only good year as an Angel. So the Albert Pujols thing to me, it's a lesson. This is a lesson to all these MLB teams that, when you take a gamble on a guy, you have to be sure. You have to be really sure that you have the talent immediately to compete. Otherwise, you're gonna, like, you can't be in a rebuilding situation, or not a rebuilding situation, but a retooling situation like the Angels were at that time, and hope that 5 years down the line, 6 years, 7 years down the line into the contract, Albert Pujols is still gonna be performing, because that's just not true, especially given how old he is. He's what, 41 now? It's like he's old, man. He's old, and again, I hate saying that, but it is what it is. The contract didn't work out. Good luck to Albert Pujols at the Dodger.
I want to read you some stats.
Read me some stats.
The first thing that I want to say about Albert Pujols is that there's not a single person in Major League Baseball that believes Albert Pujols is actually 41. This was a report that came out a few years ago. A former Marlins exec had
Hmm.
had mentioned that they had tried to sign Pujols, but that one of the issues they had was they didn't actually believe he was his age, right? And this is a pretty common thing. You saw it with Wandy Rodriguez for the Pirates a few years ago, about a decade ago. Was that he Nobody wants to sign a 17-year-old who throws 80 miles an hour, right? But if a 16-year-old throws 80 miles an hour, then fuck yeah, we'll sign him, right? And that difference might seem asinine to us, but to a scout, that extra year of development is it's the world, because that's another year where your body as a young kid is developing and maturing. And if you're that level ahead at a younger age, then you're gonna be in a better place. And so what people believe is that he's a couple years older. So assuming that he's 43, 44, 45, that's the collapse that he experienced from his production after the 2016 season is understandable. So let me read you some stats here. In his 11 years with the St. Louis Cardinals, he has 455 career home runs, or 445, excuse me, career home runs, 1,329 career runs batted in, and he has a career slash line of 328, 420, blaze it, 617, a 1037 OPS, good for a 170 OPS plus, right? Those are unbelievable Hall of Fame numbers for Albert Pujols, right? He retired at the end of those 11 years. He was going straight to the Hall of Fame. With the Angels, in 10 seasons, 222 home runs, 783 RBIs for a slash line of 256, 311, 447, good for a 758 OPS and an OPS plus of 108. Still not terrible. He's been for his career a slightly above league average hitter with the Angels, but we're
But
talking about a
it's a
guy
tale
who
of two
fell off the
careers,
face of the
basically.
earth. Yeah,
Yeah.
he fell off the face of the earth since he has not been a league average hitter since 2016 when he posted a 113 OPS plus. In 2017, he was an 80 OPS plus, 91 in 2018, 90 in 2019, 77 in 2020, and then 71 in his 92 at bats this season, hitting a putrid 198. And league offense is down across the board this year, so it does make sense that he's batting under the Mendoza line at this moment. But you're just looking at a guy who doesn't have a ton left in the tank, was not the same player he was in Los Angeles, got paid not for what he was going to do in the future, but as a legacy contract for what he had already accomplished in this league. He got paid for the brand. He got paid because he was Albert Pujols, and it didn't matter what else he was going to do, because we all knew that at his age 30, 31 season after that, he wasn't going to be a superstar into his 40s. Just nobody does that, right? Nobody does that. So, I think that is unfortunate that his Angels career ended how it ended. I appreciate that both sides are at least paying lip service to the fact that there wasn't something deeper going on there. But I mean, as an observer, it seems very strange. The different messaging that's coming out of both camps, the reports of him berating Joe Madden. It seems very understandable that there was some more issues under the surface than either side is willing to admit at this moment, and they're handling it professionally. But you just don't cut a guy. It just seems so strange. You just don't cut a dude in the middle of May. When he's performing mediocrely. A lot of guys start slow and pick it up. If you really thought he had something left in the tank to offer your team, you would have kept him. Or if you didn't think that, what does a month and a half tell you? I don't really think a
I
month and a half
mean,
tells you anything.
I do think it came down to like he's at the end of his contract. They just didn't want to deal with it. They just didn't want to deal with like a potential like fuss that
Yeah, but
would
that's
might have been
that's a Hall
had
of Famer.
if Albert Pujols like made a fuss about him not playing, because you can argue that the best thing for the Angels was them not playing Albert Pujols. But
Oh, I agree.
maybe it was just they just wanted to clean they just wanted to like a clean slate with that. And At this point,
But I think you do that in the offseason or you do that in spring training.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
disrespectful to him as a Hall of Famer.
No. That's I'm not discounting that, right? I'm not discounting that. If they were smart, they would have done this before the season started and just eaten the rest of the contract anyway. It is what it is. You paid him 240 million for 10 years of basically nothing. No offense to Albert Pujols, but it's the truth. You read the stats right there, and I mean, look, but I think maybe they thought they were going to be more competitive than they were this year, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. All I will say is if, I mean, like, again, I'm not going to, I get it. I get it. The Hall of Fame thing that does get kind of get to me because it's like he's been there for so long. He's literally one of the best players, of the entire of our entire generation. But at the same time, I can't fault the team for, just putting a clean slate. And who knows? This might actually be what's best for Albert Pujols. And evidently it actually might be because he landed with the Dodgers. He gets a fresh start and they're not paying him they're not paying him hundreds of millions of dollars. $420,000 a year. Blaze it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely better. It's better. I mean, frankly, I agree with you. It's better for everybody involved. But it's been better for everybody involved for 3 seasons now. That's the thing is that, suddenly it changed in the middle of May that Albert Pujols wasn't good enough to start. Like, what? We've known this. This is not anything new. Yeah. He has not been good for a few years now. And I think that if you're not going to play him, then don't play him. But that's my thing is I think they're telling us one thing, and I think that something else actually happened. I don't. It's they say it, and I don't believe you. That's what I get out of this. I just don't believe them. And so I look at this and I say, yeah, he's not having, you don't have to play him. You get to that point where the guy's making so much money that you have to play him. You don't have to play him if you're the Dodgers. It takes, the pressure off of him. All things considered, he's been a good player for the duration of that contract. He's been a league average for the entire duration of that contract.
But you don't pay $240 million for league average. You just don't.
Exactly. But if you're getting a quality backup for the league minimum, then absolutely I'll pay for a quality backup. You're getting a good fine. And the thing with Albert Pujols is that for whatever his issues with management were, you're talking about a guy who had the utmost. It was his locker room. That's the interesting part about this too, is it was Albert's locker room. It wasn't Mike Trout's locker room. It's not Anthony Rendon's locker room. It's not Shohei Ohtani's locker room. It's Albert Pujols' locker room. And the comments made by guys like Trout, who credits a lot of his success to Albert teaching him his approach. And I think that you see a lot of Albert in Mike Trout. I really think you do. You see a lot of Albert in Mike Trout. And, I think that, Mike Trout said something along the lines of, I cried like a baby, right? When he left, I was heartbroken because that's my guy, right? And that's totally understandable because he's been there for most of his career, making Mike Trout a better player. And I think that, Albert's going to have a great impact in the Dodgers locker room. You're bringing a winner. You're bringing a guy who has always done things the right way. You're bringing a guy who's never had scandals in the media, who's always said the right thing, who's always been a very capable face of your franchise. And, I think it's a boon for the Dodgers, and I think it's too bad the Angels couldn't make it work. But, I think ultimately it's probably better for them to get Jared Walsh and Shohei Ohtani their playing time and to have Albert go to a situation where he's going to get his playing time and he's going to play for a team that actually has a chance to compete for a title because the Angels do not.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.